Hello everybody and welcome back to another vid from your boy Jovan. Welcome. Thank you guys as always for being here. Okay, so what do we got on our plate today? Definitely nothing weird, totally normal stuff. Psych, we're actually going to be doing a zaddy tier list of your boy Ethan Hawke. Though of course he's not a boy. Ethan's a man, god damn it. He, for whatever reason, just very much emulates a father figure, to me at least. I love all the stuff he does, he's a terrific actor, and so I figured what the heck, let's do a little tier list of the movies he's been in. Obviously I'm not going to cover every single project he's ever done voice work or face work for, because there's way too many. He's done little snippets and single episodes of shows and stuff like that, but I'm going to go over the popular movies, and I think there's one show in there, but otherwise, let's just jump into it.
Tier list!
Okay, so here we are with some projects with Ethan. Not all of them he's starring in, right? He's a humble man, he's someone to look up to. He's very mature in that way. The first project he'd ever done anything in is this Explorers movie. However, unfortunately, I haven't actually watched it, so I gotta put it in the haven't seen. We're starting off a little wild here, I know. Maybe one day I'll watch it. I think I may have seen the beginning of it and was I don't know if this is a movie I'm into. But nonetheless, there you go. And now this one, I'm telling you, we're really starting off controversial here. An extremely popular movie, Dead Poets Society, I have also not seen. Bruh. Now, of course, he's not the main character per se. It's the teacher, Robin Williams. But Ethan Hawke plays one of the prominent students. I assume, of course, because I haven't seen it. But either way, now let's actually get into some of the stuff I've seen, okay? A little bit of a rocky start, but that's okay. Before Sunrise. This was while he was still young. I think this came out in 96 or 7, and it's terrific. I showed it to my girlfriend, and she thought that these two individuals were simply being way too philosophical for just, musings that they're having on, a first date with each other. But I think that kind of conversations are possible, I like to think that I can wax poetic here and there. Before Sunrise, I absolutely adore. I am going to put Before Sunrise in S tier. Now, not necessarily moving in chronological order with the rest of these. This is actually part of a trilogy. So after this, it'll be going back to chronological order of stuff he's been in. But Before Sunset is the sequel to Before Sunrise. And I think this one came out in 2004. It takes place, that exact amount of time later with the same two characters. And they haven't seen each other since that one fateful night they had. And Before Sunset, it's short, and it does the same kind of thing as Sunrise, but I don't quite know if it captures that same kind of magic. Okay, I swear I'm not being ageist. But I still think it's incredible writing from Mr. Linklater. I'm going to put it in A. Now moving on from that is the final one, Before Midnight. And to cap off this trilogy, they go over these two having been together now since the last time we caught up with them. Now it's been another 10 years or so on. And they're at a point where they may or may not be breaking things off, Their romantic relationship has been stagnating for a while. They're both parents and starting to get on the older side, a little tired, and they don't quite know if they're getting sort of what they wanted out of life, at least with a partner. And the whole movie goes over that aspect of the sort of lifespan of relationships and what happens when you're in those later years. And I think it ended on a terrific note. I think the movie as a whole is fantastic. While I'm not even at that age yet, I'm only 30, I still felt so much while watching it. And I was watching this when I was in my young 20s. I haven't actually seen it since it originally came out, but I remember absolutely loving it. And I feel like it was almost like a true sequel to Before Sunrise, because we had so much time with them and they had been developing a relationship for so long since the previous account with them. And so for that reason, I'm going to put it all the way up in S tier, actually. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. You guys can let me know if you feel any different about this little trilogy. But now moving on to Gattaca, which I know this one came out in 97. I'm sure of it. Okay. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it is. Gattaca is an easy S tier. While it is dated in some ways, I think what they were capturing with this movie is timeless. I feel like its presence is incredible, you know, everything that happens. It has all these, you know, plots, subplots, little character interactions here and there, and I feel like the general message of Gattaca was an incredible one. The writer for Gattaca didn't do anything for a while, and then he went on to make the movie In Time, which essentially is just like a cheap sort of like a reskin of Gattaca. And that one did not do as well critically as Gattaca did. It's one of those movies where it's like I recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it, because I feel like it is one of those movies that slid under the public zeitgeist at the time. And it's just, it's a great movie, you know. I feel personally that it's timeless. But now moving on from that, we have Hamlet, which I guess Ethan Hawke is playing Hamlet. I don't know, because I haven't seen it. Booyah! That goes in a haven't seen section. Sorry, bro. But after Hamlet, everything else I've seen. I curated this tier list myself. So I intentionally put these movies in here knowing I hadn't seen it just because I know that they are very popular movies in his filmography. So it was worth putting in. But now moving on to another Richard Linklater movie, Waking Life. This is one that I would not so much recommend to other people, but I absolutely loved it and what it was going for. Waking Life is a story, a very loose story, of a young man who is simply making his way through life and talking to people and having conversations about the meaning of life. And Ethan Hawke is not the main character. He's just in one scene with the French actress that is his love interest in the Before series. And it's the two of them in character as themselves, I'm pretty sure. So it's very strange, it's very out of nowhere. It just kind of cuts to a scene of them talking. So they're not even having a conversation with the loose protagonist of Waking Life. But, his single scene with that actress was very well done. The movie's good. It has Alex Jones in it, sort of, before he had his podcast, which is extremely funny. It's like a kind of what the hell moment. I think Waking Life is a nice B. It is an insane movie, but the disjointed conversations that happen in the movie, I feel like are very good. Okay, and now moving on to a film that absolutely made Ethan Hawke, that is Training Day with Denzel Washington. This one is an easy S tier. It's iconic. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Not that that's an Ethan Hawke quote, but still. You ever get your shit pushed in, Classic quotes like that. Training Day is amazing. That's like an easy recommend to anybody who hasn't seen it. It's incredible. It made, I feel like, the career of Ethan Hawke and of the director. I'm forgetting his name right now, but the director and Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington also share another couple movies, I think, later down on this list that we'll be checking out. But yeah, so following that, we have Angelina Jolie in Taking Lives, and Ethan Hawke plays a witness to a serial killer, and she's a detective trying to figure out who the killer is. I won't spoil, obviously, the whodunit element of that movie, but it was very well done. It takes place in Canada, even though it's adapted from a book that takes place in America, so it's like, okay, cool. I mean, hey, dub for Canada, I guess. I really enjoyed it. I watched it recently, actually, with my girlfriend, and I think it was very well done. I'm going to put Taking Lives in A. Now, moving on from that, we have another iconic movie, Lord of War. Lord of War is very hyper. It stars Nick Cage. He has his brother, what's his name, the cult leader, Jared Leto. And Ethan Hawke is the antagonist of sorts, who's like the straight edge cop, FBI, CIA guy. I understand it as being iconic. However, am I going to put it all the way up there in S tier? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it goes in A. I don't know. It is pretty iconic. I'm going to put it in A.
Bruh.
Yeah. I don't know why. That's just a feeler. So sorry for everybody who Lord of War is their favorite movie. I know it's based on a real person, so it also has that extra element to it that kind of like gives it that bump up of like epicness, where it's like this is the actual, obviously exaggerated but true story of this one person. Regardless, Ethan Hawke is not the main character in this one, but he plays a great role nonetheless of trying to catch Nick Cage the whole movie. Now moving on from that, we have a drama, a very dour, very serious drama called Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, and he is co-starring in this one with Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace. The two of them do a great job playing off each other. I would never have thought of them as brothers, but both of them are such amazing actors that it's believable. I won't give anything about this movie away, just aside from saying that they're two brothers that just do not like their father, and the drama is about tangled relationships with your family and also like a crime that takes place. It's an amazing movie. I remember watching it, I was still drinking. It was after my dad had left, and I was very upset, and I was lashing out a lot while drinking, like through emails and stuff, you know, it's not like I was hitting him or anything, but I was just giving, you know, I was like, F you this, F you that to him, and then I think I remember sending him like a clip from this movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman like yelling at his dad over the phone, or something like that. No, sorry, he was venting to his wife. But either way, amazing movie. It's one of those movies where it's all about the acting kind of a thing. This one, because of its dour nature, I'm going to put an A. That's probably annoying to some movie goers. They might really like dour movies, but typically whenever a movie makes me feel bad, I'm not like as inclined to give it an S tier rating just because of that. It's like, okay, you did the job that you're set out to do, but it made me feel bad. It made me, you know, it's like giving me mixed emotions is good. So it's not, I'm not one of those people that just like hates negative emotions. I think negative emotions are great. I love horror movies, but I think, yeah, when you just end on like a bad note and just everything's bad, you don't get S tier, sorry. Okay, moving on from that, we have maybe one of the smallest roles aside from Waking Life, and that is New York, I Love You. Ethan Hawke has just one scene in this. It's kind of like one of those anthology movies where there's just like an ensemble cast. But I think this one's even less strung together than New Year's Eve or Valentine's Day, those kind of movies. This one is just random snippets from like people's lives in New York. And so it cuts from like one character to another character. And Ethan Hawke just plays like some horny guy who's like just trying to have sex with some lady outside a bar. It's basically like Before Sunrise, but in real life in New York. So it's like he's just a creepy kind of like weirdo dude. I mean, he's trying to play himself off not as that, but that's the vibe, unfortunately, that I got from his character in this movie. New York, I Love You. So it's not like his acting was bad, but just his character and everything. I'm going to put this in C. Sorry, bro. Now moving on from that, we have Brooklyn's Finest. This is from the same director as Training Day. It has a similar kind of vibe where you're following cops or detectives. Some of them are straight edge, some of them are corrupt, you know, won't tell you who, no spoilers. And Ethan Hawke is, he shares the starring light with a few other people, and they don't all interact with each other all the time. It's kind of separated over many days, and you're just like, as the audience watching like different characters kind of living out their life in Brooklyn. And yeah, Ethan Hawke's role in this movie is very different from Training Day. He's a bit older, you know, and his character is just very different. And I thought it was very good. However, I would not consider it an S tier role, even though he did a great job, just the movie in general. I'm going to put Brooklyn's Finest in B. I thought it was a very good movie. Very serviceable. But now, moving on to Daybreakers. Holy moly, what a strange turn in Ethan Hawke's career. What the heck? Daybreakers, he plays a vampire in this strange, would you even call it post-apocalyptic world, because they still have a structured society, but it's just the whole world is vampires. It's one of those thoughts where it's like, what is the end goal of the concept of a vampire? He bites your neck, you turn into a vampire too. Granted, he doesn't do that for everyone, the concept of a vampire. Vampires can just suck you dry and kill you. But also there is that notion that you can turn people. And so, what is stopping a chain reaction from vampires completely consuming the world where everyone just gets either turned or eaten? And this movie goes through that scenario very well. He's sort of sharing the spotlight with Willem Dafoe, though Dafoe's character isn't in it as much. Ethan Hawke is sort of the main player in this movie, and it's just a concept movie. So it does certain things a little rough, not as good, but it's such an original concept that, you know, that's enough kind of a thing, right, to carry the movie. I thought it was very good. I'm going to put Daybreakers in B, just because of the roughness of it, but I still really liked it, okay? So don't get the wrong impression. I'd still recommend you to watch this if you like vampires and or Ethan Hawke. Next up from that is a continuation of darkness in this man's life. Sinister. Sinister is very good. I'm going to put Sinister in B, and it's sort of the same reason, where the concept is good, but there are faults within the concept, and the way it ends wasn't very good. I don't like how it ended. And there's a second one, and I guess he plays like a cameo in that one, but I haven't seen it, so that one's not in this list. Moving on from that, we have The Purge. The Purge, the first one, is just a home invasion movie. What they did after with that franchise was really, I guess they're intentional all along, I don't know. But Ethan Hawke plays a dude who sets up security in this alternate history reality of America where, for one night, murder is legal, including all other crimes. The Purge, I don't know where I'm going to put this first Purge movie. It really was just kind of schlock. It was kind of whatever. I don't know if I'm going to put it all the way down in D. I don't think I am. I'm going to put it in C.
Wow.
It's fine, but whatever. You know, just, I guess not my cup of tea. Not awful, obviously, right? Otherwise I'd put it in D, but yeah. Now moving on from that, we have Boyhood. Boyhood is epic in its scale. It's one of those one-of-a-kind movies, you know? Another Richard Linklater film. So they, you know, they clearly have a good relationship if he keeps coming back for more movies. In Boyhood, Ethan Hawke plays the dad to the protagonist. And it's a slice of life movie where there's no direct plot. It's mostly just following the life of this kid as he goes through, you know, existing in America in like the late 90s, mid 2000s. So it was very good, you know, around the same age as me. So I was able to connect with a lot of like the events that were happening, like Harry Potter books coming out, little things like that, right? So it's very of its time, and it connected with me. I'm not going to put in S tier. I'm going to put in A tier. Thought it was very good. Ethan Hawke's acting was great, as well as everyone else's. Next up, we have another high concept film. I showed it to my girlfriend recently, so it's fresh on my mind. Predestination. It plays with the concept of the bootstrap paradox, but instead of it being an object, that is like an impossibility, like a contradiction within space-time. Where it's like if your future self gives you a watch, and then you go through a time portal 10 minutes in the past, and then give your past self that watch, where did the watch come from? But imagine that with a human being. You know, it's a very mysterious. Predestination, I thought was good, but it didn't live up to what it could have been. I feel like the filmmaking and the pacing and like other characters were very, very underutilized, and there should have been more of like a broader world. Like I feel like it was a little too isolated in the story it was telling. So for that reason, I put it in B. You know, what you gonna do? I still really liked it. I still recommend it to anybody who likes time travel movies or just thrillers in general. But there you go. Moving on from that, we have the movie Good Kill, which I put it here, but I can't remember if I've actually seen it or not, because I went to TIFF one time and watched a French film about a drone operator working in Nevada. So you can understand my confusion, because Ethan Hawke plays a drone operator in Nevada, and he's questioning whether what he's doing is right. And I remember the French one a lot more. I remember really enjoying the French film that was about the same subject matter. So this one is a downgrade by comparison. However, still, it is important to ask these questions and to think about what it really means to be just looking at a screen, meanwhile what you're doing actually has real-world implications. Regardless, I'm going to put Good Kill in C. There you go. Moving on from that, we have 10,000 Saints. This one, Ethan Hawke is not the main character. He's the dad to the main character, or the stepfather. I think just the dad. Maybe the uncle. I forget. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. I watched it when it first came out, and it introduced me to the concept of people who are straight edge. So that's something. It's a coming of age kind of story. There are tragedies within the tale, and it's just this teenager trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life, kind of a thing, right? With relationships, with moving on, that kind of thing. I thought it was a perfectly good movie. I'm gonna put 10,000 Saints in B for, pretty good. I don't know, that's so rough, man. What can you say about a B? I put it in B for bingeable. I put it in B for a binge-worthy session of Ethan Hawke movies. Everything in the B. How's that? Okay. Now moving on from that, we have Regression. Regression apparently got panned, and it's so funny it got panned. It got panned for its subject matter. The whole point of the film Regression, which unfortunately spoils itself, like even if you were to just look up what the concept of the film is, it's basically about the 1980s Satan scare that was happening. Alright, so sorry for a spoiler there, but it's still worth watching just for his acting and the concept of the subject matter coming to the front, kind of a thing. So everyone seemed to hate this movie, but I didn't. I'm going to put this one in B.
Wow.
Moving on from that, we have Maudie. But in my mind, I don't know why, I feel like her name is Maud. But no, Maudie. Maudie is a real-life tale of a Canadian, and she began working to help clean this man's house, be a maid for him, and in the process, they discovered each other in a way where both of them were like messed up in their own way, kind of a thing, where like her whole life she had been bullied and beat down and like just treated like crap, and then Ethan Hawke's character was like an orphan, and like people were mean to him, or he just had anger management issues, and so he was always just pent up, and they very, very reluctantly get married, and it has got to be a display of one of the most toxic relationships I've ever seen put to screen, but they play it off as like, oh, it's tough, but it's love, kind of a thing. This is like a drama, but also a love story, and it's like, nah, this is just a drama. Like, Ethan Hawke's character, who's based on a real guy who was married to this real person, is just abusive. Like, the whole movie is just an awful person to be around, and I'm like, what is this movie like trying to do, or what is it supposed to do? But it's just a story of like two people who are just living a rough life and just not having a good time. I'm gonna put Maudie in D for goddamn, like, just get out of that relationship. Just go do anything else with your life. But she just didn't know anything better existed, and so I guess she went her whole life being under the thumb of this guy who very reluctantly let her do her art. Anyway, moving on from that, we have the Magnificent Seven. This one is an easy D for me. I remember watching it being like, this is such a rough, this looks like a first cut kind of a thing, but it's the whole movie. Its cohesiveness is bad. There are scenes that go on way too long, other scenes that rush through character development. You have a lot of like A-listers, Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke, Chris Pratt, and others, and it's from the same director as Training Day, but I feel like the director's career path, because I've watched other movies that he's made, it's just steadily been going down and down and down. Like, he really like lucked out with Training Day, I feel like, and since then his like skill set or like care for films has just been like on a downward spiral. But he's one of those people where once you get into the industry, they keep you there, kind of a thing. So even if you keep making bad movies, they'll just keep giving you money. Like, he's like plugged into the right people, kind of a thing, you know? You hate to see it, it's very tragic. And so many high-end actors that he's worked with that just have good relationships with him, I assume. Like, maybe he's a great guy to hang out with, but his skill has just gotten worse and worse. And Magnificent Seven isn't the latest thing the director's made. He made that movie Infinity with Mark Wahlberg, and that one was awful. it just feels like such a first draft. Like his movie, I don't know. Anyway, so again, that could just be a me thing where you could still love it. So whatever. Ethan Hawke was good in it, but his character was bad. Next, I honestly do not remember his character, but he was in Valerian, which I did watch. This one is an easy D as well. Moving on from that, we have First Reformed, which, holy moly, it was this like him being like, oh yeah, I can act, by the way. This one goes up in A. Okay. It would be S, except for just how damn dour the ending is. But the whole movie's incredible. The sort of... It's got to be like single-handedly the most subtle performance he's ever given in his life. He's like an alcoholic who's dying. And the whole movie he's just like racked with these feelings of like, we're killing the earth, I'm killing myself with alcohol. Something's got to give. So, doesn't leave you with a good taste in your mouth, but still a great movie nonetheless. So, for anyone who likes dramas, or priests, or environmentalism, or just great acting, there you go. First Reformed. Moving on from that, we have Juliet Naked. This is one that I watched recently, so I didn't watch it when it first came out. And it's just a super lighthearted movie. It's great. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I put it though. That's the thing. It's like, I have no notes for Juliet Naked. But I think I'm going to put it in A. Which, you know, it seems like one of those lighthearted, just kind of, hey, you watch it on a Sunday kind of a movie. But everyone involved, I feel like, did a really good job. Of course, I forget all of their names, but you know the classic people. The mom from Neighbors and the guy from IT Crowd. I don't know if that helps. And then Ethan Hawke, who is like a retired singer, musician, individual. So I won't say anything else about the plot, but it's just one of those movies where it's just a very basic, lighthearted drama that goes over the concept of relationships and what it means to, I guess, have fans and admirers, but then also to live your life and not be afraid of it, kind of a thing, right? To face your life, so to say. But there you go. Moving on from that one, we have Black Phone. This is one that popped off. This was in the same vein as The Purge and Sinister, where it's just one of those like basic classic horror movies. But either way, Ethan Hawke's performance is the single thing that saves this movie, as well as just the original concept, in my opinion. I feel like tons of terrible child acting in this movie, and certain points where you're just going, oh boy, like real run by the numbers kind of situation of like the slow build up. But Ethan Hawke's acting is amazing, and the concept is original enough, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to put Black Phone in B. There you go. I'd maybe put it a bit higher, but I can't be too charitable now, okay? B, it's still binge-worthy, so it goes in the B for binge-worthy. Moving on from that, we have The Northman. This one, he is not the leading role. He's only in it in the beginning, and then you never see him again. He is the dad to the main character, and he is... yada yada. It's a very good movie, made by an extremely talented director who just keeps making slaps after slaps. So we'll see what he makes next, but The Northman was very good. The way it ended was a little like, okay, I guess I didn't know what to expect, but yeah, that was fine. But either way, just the whole process, the whole film itself was very good. I'm going to put it in A. You know, as far as the Ethan Hawke-ness of the movie, like the beginning where he's in it, where he's just kind of like showing off his acting, all incredible, no notes, so there you go. Now moving on from that, we have Moon Knight, the show. I think this is the only show that I got on this list here. Moon Knight is, in my opinion, D. Now, hey, listen, I can already hear you guys booing over there. Chill out, okay? My girlfriend does not agree. She liked this. Everyone else I think I've talked to about Moonlight likes Moon Knight, and I just think it was not good at all. I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking, the show, and it's just like, huh? Like Ethan Hawke's character is just a copycat of First Reformed, and, you know, little snippets here and there of some other stuff that he's done. I'm trying to think what else he's emulating. Probably Black Phone, because he's got like the long slicked back hair and, you know, he's kind of skinny, whatever. His acting's great, but everything else is bad, so I'm going to put Moon Knight all the way down in D. Moving on from that, he's been in more recent stuff, but not really, you know, little cameos, and he's got upcoming projects. However, the latest thing that I've seen him in is Glass Onion, where he's just in one scene. I'm going to put it all the way up in S tier. Seems kind of like a joke, but he's literally, I think he's got 3 words that he says. It's the most random role ever. It's like, why is Ethan Hawke in this? Just for fun, I guess? I don't know. But there you go. That is my tier list of Ethan Hawke movies. That's my Zaddy tier list. Go and get some. Are you guys a fan of Ethan Hawke? Have you seen a lot of these movies? Will you now? Will you become a fan of Ethan Hawke? I hope so, because the man deserves it. The dude he just emulates good vibes. He seems like the kind of guy that you would want to just have conversations with. You know, it's one of those things. And it's not just in the roles that he's in, you know? It's like you see him in interviews and stuff. He's been on Big Think, which is like this YouTube channel that like talks to scientists and stuff. And they've had him on just to be philosophical. And I feel like the stuff he can like just express, I feel like he's a very well articulated individual, and he is very wise for his years. And so it's one of those things where I appreciate him as an actor, and I also it really seems like he's a good person as well. So there you go. There you have it. The Zaddy tier list. Booyakasha. Thanks you guys for watching along. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, ciao for now. Peace.
Hi, John Zana here. Thank you for watching thejoevandotcom. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you do, all your dreams will come true. I like ice cream. All hail Canada. Bye-bye.